Hello and welcome on in. I'm T4 and today we are doing the interior of this fortress slash gatehouse slash barracks. Come with me on this awesome journey. So the first thing I wanted to do was set up a bit of an entryway. If you look at Fantasy Barracks, they have kind of like a co-op headquarters where they have like an entrance where you can come in, you can talk to people as needed, paperwork can be done. There's normally a couple of guards on staff just kind of standing around doing their thing, and that's what I kind of wanted to portray with this opening area here. So let's see how it shapes out. Now, as you can see, I have no problem with using cavity walls to hide things I don't necessarily want people to see. I also wanted the wall to be smooth, so I ended up redoing the wall and flipping it around so that the support boards were behind, kind of in that cavity. Now the point of this wall is you never want the second floor of your barracks to just be easy access for anybody that comes in, so I wanted to block it off. That way people would have to interact or at least be noticed going through a door. Now I'm a big fan of doing my lighting at night, that way you can actually see the effect of the lighting. And so you'll notice a couple of times throughout this video that I wait until it's dark to do my lights so I can tell where they're actually lighting up. Now this area here, I'm kind of turning into like the common area or like the eating area. So I started off with the lights because it was already nighttime. And then I moved on to the tables. Now I'm gonna be completely honest, even after all of this work was done and I'm in the editing part of this video, I'm still not 100% sure I liked using what I used for lighting here just because of how much smoke they put off. And I don't have any form of ventilation here, and you'll see once I get to the second floor, the smoke actually comes through the floor just a little bit. And of course we got bench seating here because this is just for common foot soldiers. We don't need anything fancy. They don't need anything fancy. They just need an area to sit down, take a load off, do whatever they're gonna do with their time off, eat, gamble, who knows, right? Now in this back part here, it's actually meant to be more of the armory. So I wanted it to look kind of unassuming if somebody walked into this room unintentionally, or like they were invited in to sit and hang out with the guards or whatever. It's just two little doors at the back of the room. It could be anything in there. And given that this is a barracks, why don't we actually put somewhere for everybody to sleep? So here I'm making an outer hallway, that way people on patrol can still go about their thing without interfering with anybody being allowed to sleep. Originally I was planning on making this whole upper floor a barracks room, but to me that just doesn't make a lot of sense, because you're gonna have people on patrol, you're gonna have people needing to relax and take a load off. So I figured I would make a separate room specifically for sleeping. And here you can see I'm having a little bit of trouble getting my beds spaced out so that they look right. So what I actually decided to do was just do a whole line of beds side by side and then remove every other. That way they were evenly spaced. And then I just repeat the process on the other side. And of course, we can't forget the foot lockers for your everyday soldier. And there's that smoke I was talking about earlier. Now here, I wanted another way downstairs directly into the armory, because if somebody's storming your front door, you don't want to have to try to get past them in order to get to your backup gear. So I figured a back way down would be a good idea. And as we can see, nighttime is creeping in, so I'm sure you guys know what's coming. Now, before you go ahead and comment and tell me that I'm putting these armor stands down backwards, I do eventually figure it out and I do flip it. Just a couple more lights. Now this area here I wanted to turn into kind of a common area, and I was having trouble figuring out how to do it. I wanted it to be comfortable, so they've got actual chairs instead of just benches, but I wasn't really sure what else to do up here. I do recognize that I probably could do a couple of more things to make it look just a little bit better. If you have any suggestions, go ahead and leave them down in the comments. Now, just to close this off so that all the noise from the bustling village doesn't keep the guards awake. Now, just a couple of plaques. I'm gonna end up putting trophies on these ones. Originally, I was planning on doing a armory and a trophy room, but as I got into the build, I realized a solid, dedicated trophy room didn't make a lot of sense, so I decided to put them in the entryway instead. And in the officers' quarters once we get there. Now, let's fill up this room. All of the tools and armor and weapons that you see me posting up in this game are things I either made throughout my completion of the survival world, or I made specifically to be put up here. I am not using any commands. All of these things were gathered and crafted for this video. The only real quote-unquote cheat I am using is that I put my game in hammer mode, just to save the multiple trips back and forth from my supply piles. But that only works for building, it doesn't work for anything else. Now, to light the courtyard, I decided that I wanted the courtyard to be nice and bright. That way, if anything was going on at night, the guards would have a clear view of anybody that was trying to gain entry to either the upper class or to the fortress. But you'll notice I don't put lights all around the wall. And my thought process there was, in the real world, you don't want to screw up your night vision if you don't have to. So by not having lights everywhere, the guards would be able to maintain their night vision throughout the rest of their patrol. Again, if you disagree with that, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. Now into the officers' quarters. I debated using dark wood things here. I decided against it because, again, these are military folk. They don't necessarily get the best of everything, but they will get the best equipment and weapons because, well, I mean, they're there to keep you alive, right? Mind you, being officers, they do get some better quality chairs. And of course, a map table so that we can do some planning. And then a workbench because mostly for the building process, but I thought it would look okay just to hang out as well. Now let's get the captain's quarters and his second in command sorted out. Now you'll notice for these rooms, I don't close them off. And again, my thought process there is, yes, they need to be able to sleep, but being that they are the captain and second in command, they should also always be able to be aware of what is going on in their building. So I figured if I left it open, it would give them the ability to hear what's going on in their house. Of course, they get a little bit nicer furniture, but not necessarily the top. Some nice rugs that would be the spoils of patrols. Place to keep their weapons. And trophies to decorate the officers' quarters because they're officers. Of course, they're going to have the better trophies. Now you can see here I am putting my top equipment in the captain's room, but again, he's the captain. He's going to have the best equipment available to him. And then the second in command gets some pretty good stuff, but not necessarily top of the line. You shuffle a couple of things around. There we go. Now, where to put what trophy? I actually had a lot of trouble deciding for this one. Partially because of the size difference between all the trophies, but also I didn't want to ruin the aesthetic of what I was going for. And in my eyes, having the particular trophies from certain biomes on display was kind of a way of showing like, yes, we can handle this biome and the things there, even though we live in this more peaceful part of the world. Just a couple more trophies to place. Eventually. A little bit more of a thought process with this one. And there you have it. So here's the officer's quarters, all decorated and ready to go. In his room, of course, he's got his top tier armor, best bow in the game currently. Nice, homey, but yet I can fuck you up if I want to. And then his second in command doesn't have quite the same level of stuff, but still I can mess you up if I really want to. Now let's take a look at those barracks. A nice entryway where you can sit down, you can talk to the guards, you can see that they're able-bodied men that are able to deal with the rough life around. And then we come upstairs and get to see the barracks where there's plenty of beds and each bed has a foot locker for personal items. a nice common area where they can sit and relax, maybe take a load off while they're on patrol. And then the back way down into the armory. Now the idea here is this was supposed to be extra gear. So soldiers will have their initial stuff, plus this is backup. And I noticed here that the Fenris armor has eyes. So that's all I was checking out there. And then through the meal hall, relaxing common area. Probably a lot of drinking happens here. And out to the courtyard. Nice and brightly lit even at nighttime so the guards can see what's going on. And then we have our 2 trophies up to show that we can do what we want. And then up to our patrol area. Again, the courtyard is nicely lit, and then in real life, I'd imagine I'm wrong about this, and they probably do have their walls fully lit in real life, but my idea was to preserve the night vision away from the courtyard. Look at this failed jump. Well, I'm T4. Thanks for hanging around this long. I appreciate it. Don't forget to support the channel with those like and subscribe buttons. And in my next video, I'm going to start working on this area here so that we can start turning it into a full fortress. I'm going to wall everything off, move a couple of buildings in, like maybe a blacksmith or honestly, I'm not too sure yet. We'll see when we get there. I'll see you next time.